right, let me be brief, see if this doesn't take at least a little bit of gall. Illinois Governor Pat Quinn saying that employers will no longer be allowed to ask applicants if they've committed any felonies. Is that legal? Well, attorney Trinity Hundredmark says yes, it is. Kelly Sundin says it is not. All right, so Trinity, by the way, you have by far the coolest name of any guest I've ever had on this show. Touche.
Thank you.
But on
Thank you. I can't take credit for it, but thanks.
Well, congratulations, because you got the name thing down. But this thing I have a little bit of a hard time getting down and swallowing here. Why is it okay?
Well, in this instance, this was an administrative order to state agencies that they can no longer have the box on their form that says, have you pled guilty or have you been convicted of a crime? And that's so super broad. I mean, that may include anything other than, it said other than small traffic violations, but that's misdemeanors, that's DUIs, that's all kind of things that as far as I understand it, about a quarter of American population probably has something in their criminal background. So that's super broad. And what it's doing is automatically stopping individuals from even getting into the interview process, even getting their foot in the door. And you're talking about things that may have happened 20, 30, 40 years ago. So by allowing this box to be removed from the initial application, you're giving individuals a chance to get their foot in the door. And that's not saying that a criminal background check can't ever be run. It can certainly be run at some point in the interview process, but it's not at that initial step, not something that's going to initially take people right off the table, right from the bat.
Kelly?
Take them off the table. It's ridiculous. Neil, please don't send felons to my state. It's obscene. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. If you have a DUI in your past and you're not driving, that shouldn't exclude you. If you're a murderer, I have the right to know if he's sitting next to me. If you're a pedophile, I have a right to know if you're driving my children. You should have to disclose your criminal background. It's obscene and it's a complete waste of money. And to bring them in to interview them and then do a criminal background check to find out that you're going to exclude them anyway is completely pointless.
Well, you know, you could always leave that sort of thing blank, right, Trinity? But I guess you raise more questions than answers when you do. But I understand what you're saying, Trinity, about, all right, there's a lot of stuff that counts in that broad swath of
it's very broad, and it's not saying...
But it does exempt some of the more obvious ones, like getting caught for speeding and the rest. Isn't it in an employer's interest to know? And many employers will look at that when you explain in an interview what that was, and they'll say, oh, all right, what's no big deal.
Right, but what I think is happening and what it looks like the governor has looked into is that right off the bat, these individuals are getting completely excluded.
They're getting that's a good point, Kelly, that they might be just pre-screened out because of that one event.
Good. You're saving us money because these are state jobs that we're talking about. And if you're going to be excluded anyway, why waste everyone's time and money to bring them in for an interview? It doesn't make sense.
I disagree.
Full disclosure, put it on there. Obviously, you disagree. That's why you're arguing the other side. The point is,
I understand, but the background checks are actually costing more money that they're going through right from the beginning.
One at a time.
Exactly. So if you're going to do the background check, you wouldn't have to waste the money if they've already disclosed it. You wouldn't bring them in for an interview. So you're wasting time and money to screen applicants that would have initially been dismissed.
But there are other things that could be screened out for that might not be so bad. But Trinity, under your method here, I might not know if the candidate I'm talking to had been found guilty of manslaughter. All right? I mean, that's how far up it goes, or worse. So shouldn't just to protect other workers and others who I might be placing this individual in the workplace, I have an obligation to protect and look out after them, don't I?
Sure, you do. And at some point in the process, you can certainly run a background check. And obviously, if these individuals are going to be around children or driving a car, those are certain things that you're going to want to look at. But it's also important to think of if somebody has been convicted of a crime, they've most likely paid their debt to society. They've most likely done what they need to do. And so at some point, they have an obligation, or we as a society have an obligation to put them back.
Even though, let's say, they did their time for the crime, I mean, wouldn't you, if you were a parent or other parents working there with children, wouldn't you say, well, you know, that's where I kind of draw the line?
Well, and they most likely wouldn't be appropriate for the job anyway. I mean, certainly if they're a pedophile, they're not going to be, you know, hired to work in a school.
We don't know. Kelly?
You don't know that.
This is not stopping criminal.
You don't know that just because they were convicted of pedophilia.
This is not
maybe it was 30 years
criminal
ago.
background checks as a whole. It's stopping them right at that initial gate.
It's a waste of money, that it doesn't make sense, that they're coming in, they're wasting our time, and if you have nothing to hide, disclose it. That's all I'm saying.
Ladies,
it is a wasted
But they're getting
system.
excluded automatically.
All right. Well,
they're
ladies,
getting excluded.
it's an interesting
They're not getting
argument.
a
It's
chance.
going on. Other states are considering the same thing. I want to thank you both.